In this video, we're going to look at particularly graphics size and compression. So we're going to look at GIF, JPEG, and PNG as options for an image format. Now, first of all, you'll notice that this beautiful photo of my mother, of which she'd probably be mortified if she knew was on YouTube, and my son, isn't he gorgeous? It's at the moment a JPEG. So if we have a look and we go, this is Photoshop, and if we have a look at Save for Web and Devices, that will give us some options in terms of modifying that file. So we can zoom in and out of that using the plus and minus keys here. And you'll notice straight away that the quality of that image is very different than the original. So if I have a look at the original, it's quite clear. And then when I go to optimize, you get a lot of pixelation, and there's some funny things happening with color here. So if I have a look at the 2-up, I can have a look at the comparison between the original here, which is a JPEG, and this one here, which is a GIF. So if I zoom in there on my son's face, you'll notice that this is quite clear, and it has quite a smooth melding of colors here. Whereas this one here has some like definite areas of color. So we've got like almost a solid red here, followed by an orange that goes on to his skin tones. And you'll notice over here that there's this color table. And that's because if you have a look down here, there's the number 256. That's because GIF actually only supports 256 colors. So for something that has a lot of colors, like this image here, which is JPEG, it can limit the clarity that you get in terms of the colors. So if you have a look here, there's a bottle behind here. That's just much smoother in terms of the focus on that than it is on this one. So if we have a look here between the difference between this GIF photo and this JPEG photo, you'll notice straight away that if on the GIF photo there's this color table here where we have 256 colors. Now GIF is limited to 256 colors because it only uses 8 bits per pixel in order to represent each pixel. Whereas in JPEG, you can go up to 24 bits per pixel, which gives us what we call real color, which is actually 16,727,216 different varieties of colors or tones, which obviously then when you're looking at something like a photograph, it's much better to have more colors than less. You'll notice, however, if you have a look closely under the file here, is that the original, which is a JPEG, is 14.4 meg, and this modified version, which obviously you're losing a bit of quality in, but the GIF is only 2.894 meg. So the GIF's obviously much smaller file size because we're limiting those colors. If I do the same thing for this type of image though, if I zoom in on this, this is the original, which is a JPEG, and then this one here is a GIF. Now, you're not going to lose any quality in terms of the amount of colors because there's already a limited number of colors in this type of drawing. You'll also notice that the line differences there, if I zoom right in, there's actually really no difference in terms of the quality of the pixelation either. Whereas you'll notice this JPEG here is 435K, and this one's only 47. So there's a fair amount of difference there. One advantage of having GIF is that you can actually have a transparent background also. So this image here has a transparent background around my little penguin. So if I change the background color of this document in Dreamweaver, for example, to this ugly blue, you'll notice that right up to my image, the background is also blue. So this helps not necessarily for pages where you have solid background color. It does help for that, but most of all it helps for images where, websites where you would have a background image that was a pattern, because you would not have to apply that pattern to the back of the image. GIF will also support basic animations, so you can have a very standardized file format that shows an animation on the web. This is an advantage over, say, Flash, which isn't quite as standardized as GIF because you can't use it on portable devices like the iPad or the iPhone. PNG is another web-based graphics format very similar to GIF with some big advantages over GIF. First of all, like GIF, you can have a transparent background, like this image that I took from Wikipedia, or you can have a flat background. However, PNG allows more colors than GIF. So PNG, you can actually have 24-bit color, like a JPEG, so you can have real color, which is why you get the depths of colors in this image that you wouldn't necessarily get in GIF. However, PNG doesn't actually support animation, and also it's not quite as standardized as GIF or JPEG. However, it is my favorite. Because you do get a quality image, lots of color, good compression, so a small file size, with some transparency. So, in summary, generally, JPEG is good for photos, PNG and GIF for doing some things like simple images with logos, maps, things like that. Either way, all three are particularly web-based formats as they are all standardized on the web. This image that comes from Wikipedia again, and I'll put the link in the notes, is of progressively loading images. So this is an example of how a GIF is interlaced. So what happens is every second line of the GIF is loaded, and then every other line, which you'll notice here in the lighter blue, is loaded in progressively. So what that means is that initially you have a very pixelated image, but you see more of the image quicker. On the alternative, if an image is loaded non-progressively like this, not interlaced, then you'll see the first half of the image, so you'll have some blank images. Now, why would you want to do that? Basically, because you get a preview of the image before it's actually fully loaded. Now, unfortunately, interlacing also takes more file size, so you're also losing the advantage of speed in the total download of the image, but at least you then have a preview of the image while you're waiting. JPEGs also have a similar type of thing where you progressively load the image, which is called progressive JPEG. It's the similar concept of interlaced GIF, except generally a progressive JPEG will mean that the file size is smaller than the original, and also there's a lot more control in progressive JPEG over what lines of the scans are actually shown. The last part of the syllabus in terms of the graphics formats is to look at thumbnails. Now, thumbnails are basically when you have an image, it will give you a small preview of that image, like for when I search in Google, and when you click on that image, it will actually take you to the large size image. Now, the difference between these thumbnails and the actual image is that this is a large size, so if I look at this size and if I zoom in and out on it, then I would have less pixelation than this small image, which is generally of lower quality. So you can preview stuff before you actually download it.